Senator Eckhardt, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you for yielding.
Of course, Senator, of course.
Senator Parker, I know that this is a contentious topic, and I know that you already have been questioned by two of my esteemed colleagues. I didn't intend to rise, but because you continue to repeat that you're codifying Kennedy, I'm going to come at you from a different angle, but embedded in the Kennedy decision. You've read Kennedy, so you know that the three elements that the court's decision cited were that the school didn't organize the prayer, that the prayer was after the game and therefore not in the scope of the coach's official duties, and that the prayer didn't have a captive audience. So I'm going to concentrate on the portion not in the scope of the coach's official duties. Do you think that your bill is setting up a constitutional question of when a teacher, in the scope of his or her duties as an educator, may bust out a prayer? Because that's not covered by the Kennedy decision.
Senator, I appreciate the question, and I appreciate going into the detail of those three different elements. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but at the end of the day, it's not for us to determine. This is already the law of the land in America. It's been the law of the land after Gorsuch authored the majority opinion 3 years ago, the Kennedy decision. And so I'm not trying to expand it, Senator, and I'm not trying to go backwards with it. I'm simply trying to stay on solid constitutional footing.
But you are not on solid constitutional footing, and you are either willfully or unintentionally misreading the ruling. The court very explicitly stated that although the school employees are vital role models, not all they do and say is in the scope of their school duties. And the court went on to give two examples, that it would not be a violation of the Constitution if a Muslim teacher was wearing a headscarf, because that was not an action that was impeding or could be construed as part of his or her school duties. But it went on to say that also a teacher who prays over her lunch is on her lunch break and therefore not praying in the scope of her duties. But your bill very explicitly says that you can pray during the scope of your school duties, which seems to fly in direct contravention to the Kennedy decision.
Respectfully, Senator, I disagree. I think we are in alignment with Kennedy. You know, you talked about different faiths a moment ago. Senator Menendez and I had this conversation earlier, that I believe in religious liberty. And we're not trying to limit one's personal expression of their personal religious belief. No matter whether or not it's the faith that I practice or that you practice or that any of us practice, religious liberty is religious liberty for everyone in this country.
I am an ardent believer in religious liberty. And I'm also an ardent believer that one should be transparent in our discussions here. It is difficult to conceive of how one could say they were codifying Kennedy when they are explicitly going the other direction from Kennedy. Kennedy explicitly says that the coach was not in violation of the U.S. Supreme Court separation of church and state because he was not acting in the scope of his official duties as a teacher. And your bill says that you can pray in the midst of your official duties as a teacher.
And Senator, respectfully, I believe I'm staying on solid constitutional ground and that we are doing nothing but codifying. I'm not expanding the Supreme Court decision nor am I going backwards from it with regard to these rights that are given to the American people. So I think we'll agree to disagree respectfully, but I don't think that we're doing anything but codifying the current law in the United States today as of April 1st, 2025.
Repeating a statement does not make it true.
Fair enough.
And this bill is setting up a constitutional conflict between one's religious expression and their duties as an educator. When a teacher, when we come in conflict and a teacher is praying in the classroom to a captive audience during the scope of their educational responsibilities, and a school attempts to tell them to move that prayer to a time that is outside the scope of their official duties, we will have lawsuits, and your bill will have opened the door to those lawsuits. Thank you for answering my question.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Senator, for the questions. Thank you for caring about the issue. And as always, I enjoy and like to work together whenever we possibly can. So we just have a difference of opinion on this topic. Thank you.